After watching this video, your creative juices will start flowing. No doubt about it. Let's go. If there's any hack in the world that can unblock the creativity, that's beating perfectionism. And you've probably heard it a lot of times, but just bear with me and listen to my take on this, because I've never looked at myself as a perfectionist, but when it comes down to it, I really am. And it's in all those cases when I feel that someone is watching me. So when it comes to mixing, when I'm mixing a song, I do a lot of iterations and versions, and I never feel confident enough, I think. So it comes down to confidence, actually. So perfectionism is sort of like a lack of confidence in disguise. You want your thing to be as good as it can, but it's also a slippery slope into not making anything at all. You're just holding yourself back, and you can't be at a skill level that is beyond what you're currently at, and you can't improve or level up your skills without doing the thing. So it's sort of like a spiral. It's either positive or negative. If you lean into perfectionism, your spiral will become like negative, and it will be a downfall, and you will eventually fall flat to the ground, pick up another niche, and start doing something completely different. You know, the bright shining light syndrome. Like, you see something new and fresh and you think that's better, and usually it isn't. So how to beat perfectionism? I picked this up from an author, I think, and it was when writing short stories. Because the challenge back then that I had for myself was to write 2,000 words per day. And I've always been a full-time employee. I'm a teacher. I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I spent 2 hours jotting down words, and it felt kind of meaningless starting out, because it's like I didn't get any writing done. No actual writing. It was just random thoughts that I just jotted down to the paper or my iPad back then. And then I read an author, and he said that what I do to unblock myself is to try to write the worst text possible. Meaning that you break all the rules in the book, as many of them as possible, at least. So if you're telling a story, for example, you refrain from showing, you're just telling. You don't use any vivid language or metaphors, or you misspell words as much as you can. You write with incomplete sentences and long sentences, so it's hard to read, and so on and so forth. You just go all in on making the worst story ever, and that actually helps lower your shoulders and breathe a bit, because you know that your mission is to make something completely ridiculously awful and crappy. And I've applied this to music. I've applied it to mixing. I've tried to break all the rules, all the best practices, and it sticks also with me, because when I mix a song, I like to like widen up the bass a bit, and do all sorts of naughty boy things. So and I think that sort of sets my stamp on the mixes and on the music as well. So go for it. Break the rules. Just make the worst possible product, and if you get some aha moments in the process, that's like a bonus. So you can actually also find your creative voice doing like the opposite of what you should. So that's one solution to this perfectionism trap. Now, another solution is to try to piss someone off, like really, like go all in on figuring out, how can I rub someone the wrong way with this music? That's your mission. So, for example, adding a massive 808 bass on a classic boom bap track, for example, or let me have a sip of my coffee. I'm thinking. Now, another solution to beating perfectionism is to do something that's quite controversial. And I know you probably don't want to do this, but recreate another song. Take another song that you like or not like, something that inspires you. Find the audio file for it and just import it into your DAW. Have it laying there. Imitate the structure, imitate the sounds, imitate the drums, the patterns of the drums. Recreate the song. That's a good starting point. And then you can feel that, okay, it's not about finding something original, because when it all comes down to it, nothing is original. Like, you always get inspired by something or someone. So you hear something, you digest it, and then you pull it up knowingly or unknowingly. But you can do it as an exercise. Just try to recreate something, and boom. So all of a sudden you have something that's completely original and your own. And I've done that a couple of times, and it's a really good exercise, and it really gets your juices flowing. So that's it. If you do these three things, I guess your perfectionism is obliterated, I think. The next thing that typically slows down your creative process is decision fatigue. So you have all the choices, you have all the samples, you have all the scents, and and even though your budget is low, you have all these free tools out on the internet. I've made a couple of videos about free tools you can use for mixing and mastering, but you also have free samples all over the place, and you also have like low priced samples subscriptions from Splice and Ladder, and you can check the description below. I have some links that are affiliate links, but you can check them out at least. When reaching out for a tool, you might feel that, why didn't I use the other tool? And this tool cost $200 and this was $400, and then you start like regretting. Maybe you feel that, oh, was it a bad purchase? Like, I have the SSL Fusion. I don't use it on all mixes. I use it occasionally, but not every time. It's like, it's pros and cons. I love it, but it's pros and cons. And you feel that you should use all the tools, so you end up using nothing. Like, that's I don't know if that speaks to you, but it really speaks to me. I think I've had a lot of fatigue when it comes to deciding what tool should I use. And then I start using something, and then I think, oh, maybe that compressor might be better, or maybe I should replace this sample. And I start browsing through a sample library that's like 1,000 snares, and it just drains you. So the most obvious quick fix for this is to just choose one tool and then go for it. I've, for example, mixed the whole song using only the 3 kilohertz bundle, like the Essentials bundle. I've also mixed the whole track using mainly the Pro Q3, both for compression and for EQing and for everything almost, except reverb and delay, of course, and limiting at the end. But I've just like restricted my arsenal heavily and told myself that, okay, it's just for this track here. And one time I used the Native Instruments Monarch to make a complete track with drum, bass, everything. I just designed snares and kicks out of the synth. I've used my Moog right there to make complete tracks. So it's absolutely possible. One time I made a track, and that was a sample challenge actually. I made a track using only kitchen appliances, only thing that I could find in the kitchen. I used a field recorder, and I just smashed on stuff inside the kitchen. I used my microwave oven to create the bass sound. I even had a rapper jump on it. It's not world class, but it's raw, it's rugged, and it's got a feeling, it's got a vibe. So everything's possible. Just limit the tools. Now, another good tip for beating decision fatigue is to set a timer. And I remember I was in a challenge once where there was like a 10-minute, I think it was called a 10-minute challenge. You had 10 minutes to write a rap verse, you had 10 minutes to record it, and you only had 3 takes. And then you had 10 minutes to make a music video out of it. So half an hour in total. And we did it. The link is right there, I think. You can check it out. put it here as a card. And if you're listening to the audio version, I have it in the description below as well. So in the show notes. So you can check it out there if you want to. It is what it is, but it actually it at least removed all decision fatigue, because you don't have time to decide on what to use, what words to write down on the paper, or how to perform it. You just have to trust your gut and just go for it. And if you do this often enough, your creative muscle will start pumping blood and it will get stronger and stronger. All right, here comes the final thing that's holding you back and lets the DAW screen stare back at you like it's a murderous psycho or something, and that is a lack of workflow. So I have done this a lot of times. I have waited for inspiration, motivation. I like, that inner drive that you always seek, that muse. I certainly don't think it's a real thing. I think it's made up. I think that notion is fake. Uh, and I don't care about it anymore. So I've been doing this since at least 2019, and that's just showing up, follow a system, and crunching out some creativity. And that comes from the world of writing, and I've applied it here in the music space. So what it essentially comprises of is three things. Number one, sketching. Number two, refinement. And number three, just get out of your own way and publish the thing. So here's the thing. Sketching that's the funniest part, because that's where you start something new, and we all know that new is shiny and bright and enjoyable. So I like that phase. It's a necessary phase. Without it, nothing else applies. So use some of the techniques from the previous 2 pointers and do this. Set a timer for example, 60 minutes. That will keep you focused. Just start working and get into the creative flow as soon as possible. This is sort of like a muscle, and the more you do this, the better you will become, and the faster you will reach the state of flow, or the flow state, where time and place just disappears and it's only you and the craft. And when a timer stops you, you have to stop, and then you leave it, and then you come back after a short break or the day after or something, and then there's step 2, the refinement stage. And this is where you get critical. You're not allowed to start afresh or start new. You have to do this is sort of like rules, sort of just to keep you creative in the creative flow. But you make it as good as it can be. So you might replace some sounds, you might take away some certain parts of the song or the beat or whatever. Or if it's a mixing session and you're an engineer, like mixing or mastering, you double check that you've made the right decisions when it comes to in the initial stage, sort of. Like that's the refinement stage, and you make it as good as you can. And also here it helps to have a timer, so that you're working inside the confinements of some frameworks. And finally, it's the publishing stage, and that's sort of like if you haven't published a lot of your own work, this is something that's going to be painful, and it's even more painful when you have something published out there and other people just tear it down with a nasty comment or something. The publishing thing is important, because that sort of like sets you up for some responsibility. It's not just that you leave it on the hard drive and then you continue on with your life. You have to share it with someone. And if you don't publish it, for example, on the internet or on distros, Spotify or SoundCloud or whatever, at least share it with your friends, sort of. If you have a group chat or something, that you just post a link to it, like a private link, and let people know what they think, so that you can get some like outside information about it, or outside tips and tricks on how to further improve, maybe, or maybe also get some energy boosts of people thinking that it's wonderful, it's nice to hear. So that's also motivating. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching. Digital high five and all that good stuff. Hope I see you in the next video. Peace out.